record button. I do record these occasionally, so I get a fresh one every once in a while. Usually takes me a few days to get them up on the share site. Okay, again, HomeFundIt. This is our training webinar. Again, I'm Doug Nesbitt, Director of Affordable Lending and Affordable Finance and Fair Lending for CMG. Sorry, it's Friday. My contact's at the bottom here. It's going to be on the end screen as well. And feel free to reach out to me anytime with questions and stuff. Let's get rolling. For those of you who aren't familiar with CMG, might be a real estate agent that's been invited to this call. It's a company that's been founded in 1993. Chris George, he founded it in his garage, actually. He's our president and CEO. Recently, the chairman of the MBA. We're a large privately held mortgage bank. I think we're the #1 privately owned or single owner private mortgage bank out there. Top 15 lender in the country. We did about $31 billion last year in mortgages. Loan officers and branches across the country, and the full range of lending programs that you might expect from a top lender. Plus, 2 really phenomenal exclusive programs. One of them is the all-in-one loan. I call that the most powerful loan on the planet. If you're not familiar with that product, be sure to get familiar with it because it'll change the way you think about mortgages and your money forever. It's the loan I have on my house. And HomeFundIt, which is a game-changing program we're going to be talking about today. Okay, a little bit about HomeFundIt. There's 2 things you have to remember. We're going to have a lot of bells and whistles that we reveal here in this meeting today, but there's 2 things you really got to, this just boils down to. One is it helps your buyer solve the #1 problem that they have. And as we all know, that is the down payment. And then secondly, it helps you as a loan officer, real estate agent, hold on to these folks that aren't ready to buy. We meet them all the time. In fact, you meet more of them than you meet people who are ready to buy, right? Just that's the way the numbers work. And we also talk about hanging on to clients and retaining good clients and for the future and building our pipelines and things like that. But it's really hard to do, right? And as it turns out, HomeFundIt is phenomenal at doing that. We didn't actually build HomeFundIt to be able to do that, but HomeFundIt is great at hanging on to these long-range buyers who aren't ready today that you just want to make sure that they don't leave to a competitor. So the bottom line is you can speed up that timeline by helping them get that down payment in place quicker and make sure that for these long-range buyers, you don't lose them to competitors. So let's talk about first-time home buyers. First-time home buyers and down payment gifting in particular, because they kind of go together. When you look at the generational trends that we're seeing today, 82% of millennials want to buy a home today. The average age of millennials is actually about the same as the average age of a first-time home buyer. So they're moving through that wave is crusting on the average age when people need to form households in a home and want to buy a home. 63% of prospective home buyers out there today, people who want to buy a home, are first-time buyers. But when you actually look at who gets to buy a home today, only about 26% of them turn out to be first-time buyers. So there's a big drop-off, and we know that that drop-off is largely caused by not having enough cash to be able to buy a house. First-time home buyers are struggling with all the things we've read on the front page all the time lately: high home prices, rising rents, student debt. And when you talk to renters today, 70% of them will flat out tell you, I need to come up with some more cash. I don't have enough money to buy this house. And the way they get over that hurdle today is by getting a little bit of help from Bank of Mom and Dad. In about 35% of cases, we see a check from Bank of Mom and Dad, even though under Fannie Freddie guidelines, other relatives can help, but they never get asked. Why is that? Well, we kind of know this, right? Paper checks, gift letters, it's inconvenient. It's hard to ask grandma to fill out a gift letter and, oh, I got to get financial statements on this one. So they just exclude those people. Your buyer physically will say, no, I'm not going to hassle those folks. I'm just going to work with mom and dad on this, even though a lot of those folks would like to give, right? When you graduated from high school or college, you sent out a little graduation announcement to a whole bunch of people. What happened when you did that? They sent you nice things, right? When you got married, you sent out an invitation to a bunch of people, right? And those people, some of them flew all the way across the country to come to your wedding. Most of them gave you gifts and stuff, right? That's the same folks we see participating with HomeFundIt. And they never get asked today in the traditional sense to be able to participate with the home today. So we said, hey, let's take all the friction out of that system. Let's make it so that you can do this online with a debit or credit card, no offline paperwork. And that allows that all those folks that you sent the graduation announcements to and the wedding invitations to be able to help with a HomeFundIt campaign. Not just grandparents, aunts, uncles, brothers, cousins, sisters, but also friends, teammates, coworkers, wedding guests. Anybody can give on the HomeFundIt platform. And when you take the friction out of the system, all of a sudden possibilities start to happen. People can give up to $5,000 per donor, no upper limit on how much you can gather in total on the campaign. There's no commissions or hidden costs. 100% of the money that they raise goes to their transaction. And it works with any loan program except for HFA bond programs. So the possibilities start to open up when your buyer realizes, hey, it's frictionless. The grandparents just have to go get to the page and be able to donate, right? And a lot of times what we see is the parents talking to those other relatives saying, hey, here's your opportunity to help the grandkids buy a house, etc. So when you take the friction out of the system, interesting things start to happen. We see it over and over with HomeFundIt. These pages set up very, very easily. They just go through a few simple setup screens, and presto, they've got a page on the web where people can donate. It's got a picture and a title that they can customize. It's got a default story. It's a pretty good default story as it is, but people like to customize it once in a while. Loan officer and real estate agent are both featured on the campaign. There's a place in the upper right-hand corner where people can donate to the campaign. There's a second way to add funds to a campaign. It's called HomeFundIt. I'm going to talk about that in a second. It's built into every campaign. And on the bottom right, you can see where all the donations are coming in, all the donors are listed. We match those donations 2 to 1 up to the lesser of $2,000 or 1% of purchase price. Most of the time that's $2,000 because most homes cost more than $200,000 these days. There's 2 requirements to get the 2 to 1 match. You have to be a first-time buyer. Anybody can use the platform, but to get the $2,000, you have to be a first-time buyer. And you have to take Home Buyer Ed prior to contract. And I'm going to repeat that one. Home Buyer Ed prior to contract. So if you're in contract, it's too late. And that's a hard and fast rule. So it can't be, there's no exceptions on that. So make sure when you have a buyer in this program, they get going on that Home Buyer Ed. They don't get excited and get out there and sign a contract this weekend. Okay, so that's an important one. I can't say it had enough. I have one sad conversation a week, and the person's out $2,000. So it's a big mistake if you miss that one. And we apply the $2,000 towards closing costs as a lender credit at closing. There's a second way to add funds to a campaign. It's called HomeFundIt. And you get extra funds towards your down payment simply by shopping. Anybody can shop. That means the campaigner, the loan officer, the real estate agent, all the supporters, families, friends, anybody can come here, click this button. And when you do click that button, it opens up a world of online retailers. All the names that you know and love are in here. Each one of them has a rebated percent back to the down payment as a pledge. And it ranges from 1% to 50%. The average is around 7.5, 7.6, but it's a pledge towards down payment dollars, basically, based on how much gets spent on that shopping trip. Like I said, all the stores you know and love are in here. I was noting the other day that Home Depot was 8%. I think Target's around 4%. The travel guys are in here too, and those are usually big dollar expenditures, right? You're buying a plane ticket, buying a hotel somewhere. That can generate a lot of dollars as well. Plus, we bonus those HomeFundIt pledges 2 to 1, just like we bonus the gifts coming in 2 to 1. So it's easy to remember, right? And it's towards that same $2,000 lender grant. So if you spend $100 at Walmart, you get $4 towards your down payment, and you get $8 towards your closing costs. Total value 12%, just for clicking the button and shopping there that way, right? You're getting the same stuff if you went directly to the store, but since you click the button, it's linked to that campaign. Plus, there's a nifty little Chrome widget that you can install. It saves you the trouble of actually having to go to the campaign page to get started. Third way to get to that lender grant of $2,000 is to share your campaign on social. And each time you do, you get $10 per person, per platform, per day. So if you shared on all 3 platforms that are linked on the campaign, you get $30. And if your friend came into your campaign page and did the same thing, they could get you another $30. And we've seen a lot of people get all the way to $2,000 just doing a lot of sharing early on. Not everybody wants to share. It's not a requirement, but we do bonus you when you do that. Campaign, when they first set it up, they have a dashboard that they arrive at. It's got a nifty little to-do list that tells them exactly kind of how to manage their campaign. They can start their home buyer ed from here. They can start a pre-qual from here. They can link their loan from here. And in the upper right, they can click the preview button and go right to their campaign page, which is what they're going to share with their family and friends any way they want to. Loan officer and real estate agent are both featured on the campaign. Okay, so here's how the campaigns actually kind of flow out in time. And there's two tracks. This track here is for all loans except for Freddie Mac. And we require seasoning on those funds. So basically you'd set up a campaign page. And you might shop with UpIt for a while. Now, these campaign pages never expire, by the way. So the funds never expire on HomeFundIt. You can shop as long as you want with UpIt. You can start fundraising anytime you want. Usually when people start fundraising, the process runs 4 to 12 weeks or so from when they first tell their family and friends. The money generally comes in pretty quickly. So some people wait a little bit of time before they actually start fundraising. Of course, you want to get pre-qual before you get out there and do your house hunting. Get your home buyer ed done before you get into contract. And then because we require seasoning, your buyer is going to want to deposit those gift funds into their bank account. There's an ACH button right on the campaign dashboard. They press that button and the money goes into their bank account. And they want to do that in time to season those funds before they submit their final loan app. And remember, seasoning is different depending on the program. Generally speaking, the rule is 2 bank statements with no deposit on them from those ACH gift funds. So that's around 60 days or sometimes a little bit longer depending on when you're pressing the ACH button. So make sure your campaigner gets started early, fundraises early, gets those funds in their bank account in time to season. And then at the end, of course, they're going to get the $2,000 lender credit plus any pledge money that they've earned from shopping on UpIt. Okay, you're probably thinking, what if my client doesn't have time to season those funds? Is it the end of the game? Is all lost? Answer, no. What a lot of people do is if they don't have time to season those funds, they either send them out to a side account that's totally unrelated to the transaction, or, and this is what most people do, they hold on to those funds in their campaign until after closing, and then they just ACH the funds to themselves after closing. Campaign stays open the entire time. Campaign will stay open until you ACH those funds. And they do it after closing, and they use those funds for repairs, things the seller won't fix, carpets, paint, windows, you know, the things that you need to do after you move into the house. And so that's what you do if you don't have time to season. Either way, you still get the $2,000. So that's the seasoning track, and that's all loans except for Freddie Mac. So that's any Fannie Mae program, VA, FHA, Jumbo, USDA. Now, if you're using Freddie Mac program, it's really easy. There's no seasoning required. So you set up your campaign, you can shop as long as you want with UpIt. You can fundraise right down to the wire. So basically, you can keep going right until you submit your final loan applications. Then you got to stop, of course. And those gift funds are wired at closing right into closing. You get your $2,000, you get your UpIt rebate dollars, et cetera, at the end. So with Freddie Mac, and that's Freddie Mac conventional loans plus Home Possible, you basically don't have to do any kind of seasoning. So that's really the easiest way to go, but either way works. Program stats to date, we've done, I think we're well over 1,300 now. This slide's a couple weeks old. We've seen all kinds of deals, big ones, small ones, big loans, small loans. You know, works with any loan program, so we see pretty much the whole thing. See some very large ones because there's no upper limit on a campaign. These are some of the bigger ones we've done. The average, what I would say, the sweet spot campaign, 5 to 15,000, 5 to 15 donors. Just depends on their network completely, right? And it requires a good photo, you know, that family will recognize and enjoy looking at, sincere story, people, you know, asking people for help, asking them to participate in your home purchase, and share. If you don't tell anyone, then you're basically back to good old bank of mom and dad. Now, here's something that drives me crazy. I see sometimes loan officers just tell their clients, hey, get $1,000 and that'll get you $2,000 on the back end. Okay, I get that, but you're not doing your borrower any favors, right? I haven't met a first-time buyer yet that couldn't use more money. So don't tell them that. Basically tell them we match the first $1,000 2-to-1, and that gets you 2,000, but keep going. Don't be that loan officer that doesn't give them the full story, right? So I'm kind of on a mission here to make sure we have as many donations as possible coming into these campaigns. Let your buyer decide, right, on what's the best course of action. Most likely, they will talk to some more relatives, and more than 1,000 will come in. So your campaign is going to underperform if that's all you tell your buyer. Bottom line is, let them go for it, right? Encourage them to go for it. Encourage them to get the word out and share their campaign. They don't have to do it on social. They can do it by email, carrier pigeon, word of mouth. We don't care, but let a few people know. And when you do, interesting things happen. Here's an example of a sweet spot campaign where just that happened. We had a good photo, good story. This was a couple who had gotten married. They went back to the same group of folks who came to their wedding. They honestly thought only their parents would give. And this is in a video, so we have them actually saying that unsolicited. They said, we actually thought only mom and dad would give, but when we told all the folks, we had 13 people jump in and they raised $11,000, mostly from those 13, not the mom and the dad, right? And they were in their house weeks earlier. So it really does work when you let people get the word out to their family and friends. Family obviously is the theme for most campaigns that we've seen. This one on the right was a $32,000 campaign. We see a lot of wedding related campaigns. Huge opportunity here for loan officers and real estate agents to do wedding expos. Set up a table at a wedding expo. We had one loan officer and real estate pair go out in Florida. They did 13 campaigns on a Saturday morning. That's 13 future buyers that they started that morning. Remember, you're not in control of the timeline for your buyer. They are, right? But what you are in control of is when you start that relationship. And with HomeFundIt, you're starting that relationship the day they set up their campaign page, because they've said, hey, this is cool. I'm going to use this to build a bigger down payment. And it comes with this loan officer and this real estate agent. They're going to help me do this, right? So weddings are built-in networks, and wedding expos are built-in marketing opportunities for real estate agents and loan officers. Much better than asking for a toaster. We're seeing, by the way, we're seeing a lot of people use QR codes for weddings. They use a QR code, stick that in the invitation, and it drives people from the QR code to their campaign page. They just said, please don't buy me china and coffee machines and toasters. Rather have some money to help with my down payment. And same thing with solo buyers. We always talk about helping the next generation of buyers buy homes, right? Well, how do you know the next generation of buyer, right? They're the kids coming up through college and starting their first job and stuff. Well, guess what? You know their parents. The traditional ask is, call me when your kids want to buy a house, right? Not anymore. With HomeFundIt, you can talk to those parents now and say, hey, look, we've got this new tool that can help your kids go from renting to owning faster, so that they don't have to spend as much time renting, and they can buy a home sooner after graduating and starting their jobs. Let's get them set up on a campaign page today, like in the moment. Let's go, right? Because you can all shop with UpIt for a while, then start fundraising, etc. We had a young woman who was a junior at Clemson, set up her campaign page, and then kind of didn't do a whole lot with it during her junior year, shopped with UpIt, etc. But graduated, put a QR code leading to her campaign page in her graduation announcement, ended up with 20 donations, and buying a house by October of that fall after graduating. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know a lot of kids graduating from college and buying a house within 4 or 5 months after graduating. And it was a nice one. It was above average price house. So the bottom line is that these solo buyers coming out of school, great marketing opportunity, and you've helped their parents buy, sell, refinance homes already. Those parents are probably not a very monetizable list of clients, right? Because they're hunkered down, aging in place. What you want is the next generation, and they are the gateway to that next generation. You've got a tool that's really interesting to a family who wants to help their kids buy real estate. So I hope you'll take advantage of that one. It's a huge opportunity. Okay, so how do you get this out there to your buyers? Well, the very best place to start a HomeFundIt campaign is at the real estate agent portal. And the reason is it's a co-branded place for clients to get started. It's got the real estate agent branding in primary position. It's a quick setup, and it's got some great marketing tools in it. It's got the real estate agent's branding at the top, photo, contact information, big green button where the buyer starts a HomeFundIt campaign. It's got an ask a question panel that leads back to the realtor's email. It's got video that explains how the program works. And it's got a showcase of active and successful campaigns that the realtor has started. Those are showcased right there on the front, and people can click right into those campaigns. Real estate agent can match donations coming in one-to-one up to however much they want if they're in one of the 40 states where that's permitted. And that's where realtors can negotiate their fee or provide closing cost discounts, etc. So it's a great way to get a little extra publicity because every time somebody donates, you pop right in with your match. Plus, it's kind of a built-in retention tool because as more money gets raised, the matches are going up. So a great retention tool, also great incentive to raise some funds. So I love these matches when I see them. I see a lot of 500s as kind of the cap for a lot of folks. Inside the portal, if you go to the marketing tab when you log in, there are these great testimonial videos. And the neat thing about them is that they come in a branded player that has the real estate agent's branding right on them. And they're super easy to share. You just click the share link right underneath that. And there's a contact form so that wherever these things go, people can get back in touch with them. Okay, so what are these testimonial videos? Well, there's 7 of them in there. Tell the story of how HomeFundIt has helped first-time buyer. And all different types of stories. I tell people, put these out there on a Friday, get them in social media over the weekend. Look, these are videos. That's the best kind of thing to post on social media with the answer to the #1 problem that the buyer has. Isn't that a good thing to put on social media over the weekend, right? The #1 problem that they have is a down payment. You've got the solution. Click the link, leads right back to the portal. So it's a great way to go. Here's how you share them. You can see my branding here. You just click the social link. And if you're logged into Facebook, it automatically goes right in as a share. And all you got to do is put in some intro call to action copy. We've pre-written that. Hit the share button at the bottom, and away it goes into your timeline. So that's your marketing for the weekend. And it's a great story that leads right back to you. Something that's really different and will differentiate you in the marketplace out there today. As you know, you can boost that post to people who don't currently follow your page. $50 a weekend will get you thousands of people who are out there using mortgage calculators, shopping using Zillow, things like that. So Facebook allows you to target all that stuff really well. And inside your portal, there's a marketing kit for these videos with a page that corresponds to each video. And all you got to do is steal the call to action copy off that page, and that's what you put on the top of those posts. So you don't even have to be a copywriting genius. You basically just have to be a plagiarizing genius. Steal that copy, stick it in there, hit the post button, and you got your marketing for the weekend, right? You're looking for something interesting to put on the web, this is it. And there's 7 of those, so you've got a nice long rotation there. Easy to get one of these portals. You might want to write this down. Just go to realtor.homefundit.com, put in your name, email, pick a password, and put some information about your contact information. Upload your logo, upload your photo, and be sure to choose the loan officer who you're working with because that brands them into the portal. And any campaign that gets started on the portal will automatically feature both realtor and the loan officer. So be sure to pick the loan officer from the drop-down menu. And then the other thing you can do in the settings area is to set your match. Again, it's an option, but I highly recommend it. And once you get some campaigns up and running, the borrower, loan officer, real estate agent will automatically get a weekly update, and the borrower gets one with the branding for the loan officer and the real estate agent that explains how all the campaign's doing, fundraising progress, shopping activity, things like that. And then anytime something happens on the campaign, like somebody shares or shops or donates, there's an activity triggered email that goes out to loan officer, real estate agent, and the borrower that says, hey, somebody just shared your campaign. Somebody just shopped and you earned this much. So the bottom line is it's a great way to kind of stay in front of people, particularly for long range campaigns. And I love it when I see loan officers and real estate agents dropping by their clients' campaign pages, doing a little bit of shopping. It's just built-in love all around. So be sure to do that. Realtor.homefundit.com. Okay, last little section here, and then we'll do some Q&A, is about the corporate affinity opportunity. Basically, there is a ability to offer HomeFundIt to groups or companies or organizations. A lot of you guys have done affinity relationships with companies. Usually that's a discount, a promise of good service, things like that. Well, with HomeFundIt, it becomes a tool for the company, a tool that allows their employees or their members to go from renting to owning a little bit faster, and the company can use it as a benefit. We have a special page that's company branded. You're looking at Graceland University right now here. They're a small college in Southern Iowa. It's actually where Caitlyn Jenner went to college. And this is a picture from their campus. This is a tool that they use as part of their HR system. Any employee that they hire, this is the housing benefit that they offer. It's a tool that lets them raise money faster for a down payment. It's got built-in collateral for the HR person to share. So if you've got a relationship with an organization and you want to collect all the business from that organization, and you think they would value this as a benefit, let's talk. We've got an affinity presentation. They're generally pretty one-to-one custom discussions that we have with each organization, because each organization wants something a little bit different. I have a 10 restaurant chain on the East Coast that wants to do tabletop QR codes to let their patrons donate to the fund for their servers. And we're launching that one at the end of July. We've got a 20,000 member chain in the Midwest of restaurants that wants to help their employees go from renting to owning faster. That's a lot of deals coming in. So if you've got a opportunity with an organization, we like to say only an organization who wants to give back, right? Not an organization who just wants to offer a page for their employees, but an organization who wants to get involved and make a donation to employees, down payments. It doesn't have to be a company. It could be an association or a union or a church. Bottom line is they have to want to help. And if you've got that kind of an opportunity, reach out to me and let's talk. Okay, to kind of wrap it up, today when you're meeting a client, typically they have been going down this long journey of getting ready to buy a house, and they need a loan officer, they need a real estate agent, and you fight over them and so forth, right? But with HomeFundIt, you have the opportunity to preempt all of that. You can start the relationship in the moment. As soon as you find out somebody's dreaming of becoming a homeowner, no matter how early that happens to be, even if they're still in college, like the story I was telling you, right? They can set up a HomeFundIt page. If they're not ready to get into regular gifting and so forth, they can just shop with Up It for a while. Doesn't matter. Again, it never expires. So the bottom line is you can start those relationships really early. In all cases, they're going to get done sooner because they're getting help from outside. You've preempted your competition who can no longer have that deal. You've dropped it into your pipeline, started the journey, and you're going to get to speed them up, right? Which is cool. It all boils down, as you can see, to getting these people on a campaign page. So the minute you meet somebody who wants to be a buyer down the road, doesn't matter what the timeline is. Talk about HomeFundIt, have them get set up on a page. It's super easy, and it does open up possibilities for your buyer. It can help them become ready sooner, as we've been talking, and for you, it helps you secure these long-range buyers who aren't ready to go today. Gives them a way to start building that down payment while they're getting ready to buy a house. For your clients, it's a game changer, right? Because you've taken the friction out of gifting, and again, as I've been saying, it opens up possibilities for them. So you encourage them to talk to people who might be able to help, and trust me, they will think of a way. And we're seeing more and more campaigns with larger and larger numbers of donors coming in. And that's because first-time buyers are realizing this is tough. I can't do this on my own, right? Otherwise, I'll have to wait forever. And it just gets more expensive the longer I wait. So they get help. And HomeFundIt just really makes that possible. Plus, there's two ways to do it: donations and shopping. So for you, your to-do list, Realtor portal. If you're a loan officer, make sure your agents have these. If you're a real estate agent, just put one of these together. Again, 5 minutes. You'll have it done before the top of the hour. And buyers who are ready to go today, have them set up a campaign page ASAP and talk to them about hey, who else could help you, right? Let them come up with ideas. They can share any way they want to share, but the bottom line is get the word out and let people help. And again, encourage them by talking about the graduation announcement example. Encourage them by talking about the wedding invitation example, because those are the kinds of people who they want to think about who might be able to help them, right? Best friend in college, or best man from the wedding, that kind of a thing. Pipeline, folks who are a long way out, right? That's okay. You can put them in your pipeline today, in the moment, right? So talk to your older clients about getting their kids, started on one of these, and really tap into that next generation of buyers. And the folks who need a little more time, this is a great way to secure that relationship with them. And the basics, like posting testimonial videos, emailing links to your portal to folks, updating your signature block, right, with some information about your portal and HomeFundIt. And that is the HomeFundIt program. The program itself, the Realtor platform, corporate affinity opportunity. And in the chat, I have while we're doing some Q&A, I've got a link to a zip file. And it's what I call the HomeFundIt starter kit. And there's a few really important documents in there. One of them is the cheat sheet. It is the place to start. It's kind of like if you were going to take crib notes on the program and write a summary and put links to everything you could think of, that's what's in the cheat sheet. So go get the cheat sheet and it'll give you links to videos, summary, training, etc. By the way, we do these trainings just about every Friday, and we do dedicated trainings for branches. So if you're a real estate branch, want to do it, awesome. We set up a dedicated session for your branch. If you're a loan officer, you want your whole team to get going on it. I just did a couple loan officer teams this week, and so we do these kind of custom presentations anytime you guys want. Just reach out to me and we'll make that happen. Okay, let's do a couple questions. If you got questions, throw them in there. One question that came in is, since FHA seasoning is 30 days, does that shorten the seasoning? Answer, yes. I kind of like to use the 2 bank statement rule as sort of rule of thumb, but yeah, FHA is 30 days, so you're in pretty good shape. Question, can you go over the seasoning of money portion? Okay, real simple on seasoning. There's 2 tracks for HomeFundIt. And there ended up being 2 tracks as of May, because Freddie Mac came in and said, hey, we don't need seasoning anymore. So if you're doing Freddie Mac, which is Freddie Mac Conventional or Home Possible, and I would say that probably half of HomeFundIt is Freddie Mac right now, just because it's very popular. If you're doing Freddie Mac program, LPA underwrite, the funds are automatically, gift funds that come in are automatically wired to closing. So you don't have to worry about a thing. All you have to do is pull the gift ledger and the gift letters, which we supply you with, and that goes in the file. Get your home buyer ed done prior to contract, and the $2,000 lender credit's automatically applied, and the gift money's automatically wired at closing, and that's it. Now, if you're not using Freddie Mac, and so you're using Fannie Mae, FHA, VA, Jumbo, or USDA, then you do need to do seasoning. And that means that those gift funds that come in on the platform, they're sitting there in the campaign, they need to dump those funds into their bank account at least in time to season those funds. And so that's at least 60 days in most cases. And as we were just saying, for FHA, it's 30 days. But remember, bank statements are kind of on the month. So, if you're in the middle of June, you got to get through the July bank statement clean. So you've got to get those funds in sometime in June, and then wait and then put in your final materials in August, because they're going to call for the July statement. And if you're 2 months, it's going to be the July and the August statement. So you're looking at September. So really early, right? So at least 60 days before you turn in your final loan materials for underwriting. So that's the seasoning part of it. The ACH button is there on the dashboard. Your buyer just hits that button and the money goes into their bank account. Just make sure they do it early. Now, if they don't have time to season, like they just found out about HomeFundIt a little too late, that happens all the time. So not to worry, people just take those funds after closing. So they just go through, they get the lender credit at closing, and then after closing, they hit the ACH button after closing, and they use the funds afterwards. The only people that hurt actually is the people who find out about it late and need the gift funds to be able to close. So that would be somebody who's bringing in a significant amount of money at the last minute. And in that case, I really try to encourage those folks to try to go Freddie if possible. May not be possible, just depends on the buyer. So that's the only tight spot in there. So fundraise early, ACH the money early, or after closing for the E, and so forth. How much is the max amount a donor can give? $5,000 per donor. So mom can give $5,000, dad can give $5,000. We were just doing one of those yesterday, and you know, grandma can give $5,000. You can keep going as high as you want. Again, the Sweet Spot campaign, 5 to 15,000, 5 to 15 donors. I've kind of forbidden people, not forbidden, but I discourage people from using the word crowdfunding. Now, it's a tempting word to use, right? But the truth is, this really isn't crowdfunding as much as it is family and friends funding. Crowdfunding tends to strike fear into the hearts of most people because they think, oh, I couldn't run a crowdfunding campaign, nor do I want to ask a bunch of strangers for money. And that's okay. It's not really meant to be that. It's meant to be letting people who know you and love you help you, right? Occasionally some people give and you don't know who they are. We see that a lot. And that's because somebody told somebody, and then somebody wanted to be listed as anonymous on the campaign page, so nobody knows who they were. They're probably somebody you know, or a second degree. We have seen some strangers give to campaigns that are, you know, sad campaigns. We've seen a few of those. But generally 5 to 15 people, 5 to 15,000. Max amount, 5K per donor, no upper limit. And again, encourage your buyer to go out and talk to their family, right, and get a whole bunch. Don't encourage them to just bring in 1,000, because that doesn't do them any favors at all. And I'm chasing those down when I see those. I always go back to the loan officer and say, okay, is that what you told them? So don't be that LL. All right. Any other questions? I'm happy to stick around as long as you guys need me to. My contact here is on the screen, so if you need to get a hold of me, be sure you download that starter kit. It's got the all kinds of goodies in it. It's got the quick start or the cheat sheet. It's got the FAQ document. It's got some sample flyers. So good stuff in there. Okay, I don't see any other questions coming in unless somebody's in the middle of typing. Thank you guys for being on the call today, and go out and make it a great and safe weekend. We're here to help you and look forward to seeing you guys on the HomeFundIt trail in the days and weeks ahead. Go out there and let's use it to fatten up those pipelines in 2022. You guys can stand out with this program. Use it as often as you can. Thank you very much. Bye now.